All right, we are live from the Youngstown studios in the great city of Youngstown, Ohio, and this is the 330 Sports Show and more. We are a live stream podcast on Facebook with what's trending in sports as well as other mainstream topics. Each Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m., we'll take a look at some of the biggest stories in the sports world nationally and right here in our valley. Today is Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. My name is Justin Coffin. I'll be your host for today's show, and a little bit later on, I'm going to have co-host Joe Danier, who is the founder of Youngstown Studios, joining me. We are also going to have a special guest in today, Dr. Carolina Figley. She's the owner of Medically Fit, as well as the Northeast Ohio Flag Football League. So we're going to talk to her in just a little bit. On today's show, Joe and I are going to be talking about some interesting high school football team names. We're also going to be picking some NFL division winners before the season kicks off officially on Thursday. If you would like to call in today, you can call us at 330-595-1600. And a question I have for everybody today is, I thought with kids going back to school and obviously we have a nutritionist and health expert on today. I'm gonna call it Your Take Tuesday. And what was your favorite school lunch menu item? I had a few people on Twitter and Facebook already write in, and I got the classics, the pizza and the fiestada. I think was a big one. I'm gonna go with the tacos on that one. But feel free if you have any questions for us. 330-595-1600. So before we get to Dr. Figley, I'd like to go over just a few more of the bigger notes from the sports world as we've been off for a week. So the Indians are now sitting at 26-15. They are tied with the White Sox for first place in the AL Central. And they both have a one-game lead on the Minnesota Twins. The Indians obviously have had a lot of dominant pitching, with Shane Bieber probably, right now, if the season ended, the Cy Young winner, possibly the MVP of the league. Tristan McKenzie, a rookie, goes tonight for the Tribe. And Plesac is back now, and it seems like they've really hit on all gears, especially even since trading Clevenger to San Diego. Another note this year, Major League Baseball is expanding their playoffs to 8 teams this year, so 2 additional wild card, which is, gives a lot of teams the opportunity to get involved this year. As I said earlier, Joe and I are going to be picking some NFL division winners later on. The NFL kicks off this Thursday with the Houston, Texas, and the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, being a 9.5-point favorite. Catching up on a little bit of NBA, last night the Clippers took a 2-1 lead on the Denver Nuggets, who won game 1 of that series, so the Clippers have taken the last 2. The Celtics are now up 3-2, looking to close out the Toronto Raptors, the defending champions. A big injury over the weekend. Giannis went down for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he is questionable for tonight's game, and it's obviously a must-win as the Bucks are down 3-1 to the Miami Heat. And also the Lakers and Rockets are tied at 1 game apiece tonight. The Lakers are a 5-point favorite. In golf, Dustin Johnson wins the FedEx Cup on the PGA Tour, and with that came a $15 million purse, which pretty lucrative in all of sports. So that really kind of ends the season, but as we know, the Masters will be in November this year. There were some more college football games over the weekend. Really, the only game, personally to me, of note was BYU and Navy last night, but BYU just rolled over Navy 55-3 to really not make that a contest. And finally, before we bring Dr. Figley on in a second, in tennis, this was something I had never seen before that happened over the weekend. Djokovic, the tennis star, was fined $267,500 for accidentally hitting a ball, and which then hit a line judge, which disqualified him from the U.S. Open. So that not only knocked him out of the tournament, disqualified him out of the tournament, but that also cost him $267,000. But I think he'll be okay. He's the number one player currently in the world. So I'm going to transition to our guest today. I'm going to bring in Dr. Carolina Figley. And she brings with her a lot of expertise. She owns Medically Fit, and I believe it's out of Boardman. And she also owns and runs an NFL sanctioned Northeast Ohio Flag Football League. So, Dr. Figley, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, our listeners are probably going to notice you have a little bit of an accent. And could you tell us a little bit like where you're from and, you know, how you got to the United States and what you do kind of right now? So a little bit of background on yourself.
Sure. Even though I pretend that I do not have an accent, I tell my kids that I don't, but it seems like very obvious. I was an exchange student through Rotary Club when I went to high school. And on that time, I met the one that is my husband now. He was the first boyfriend that I had. So I came back to my country. I'm from Chile originally, even though I'm the first generation born from my father family from Italy and my mother family from France. I'm the first generation born in Chile. And then I came here in 2005 to live in the United States and a proud citizen in 2010 too.
Very great. That's awesome. And I was just talking to you a little bit before we came on. I knew you spoke Spanish and English, but you also speak French and
Italian.
Yes. So 4 languages, very, very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business and what you do as a doctor?
Sure. What we do at Medically Fit is it's a medical clinic, which we have 2 different branches. One is for people that have medical issues, so very common diabetes or thyroid problems, kidney disease, and menopause and different types of of medical issues. And then we have the other branch that is a weight management, which we do kids and adults, and also we deal with sport weight management. So when kids need to be a little bit more weight or less weight for their certain sports, we do that too.
Okay. So so say a kid might be, like you said, a little bit overweight and needs to drop a few pounds. You can help with that.
That's what we do. Get him ready.
Yeah. But also, like if it's like me, I mean, not so much now, but when I was a kid, I was really, really thin and had trouble putting on weight. So you can do that as well.
In a healthy way too.
Okay,
it's not just eating a bunch of bread and get the weight. We make it in a healthy way.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very good. All right. So there's a lot of diet methods and things like that. You always hear these new trends coming out, every year.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on that? Or do you like the diets? Do you not like the diets? Or do you subscribe to something different?
Well, I'm a traditional MD, and then I did 5 more years of nutrition. So I do believe on a balance, like with everything in life. When it's a balance, everything works better. There are 5 food groups, and I believe that we should have, each of them has a main role in our body.
Yep.
So I believe that we should have them all in the certain amounts that we need to.
Okay.
Everybody's different, but in the amount and the portion that we need, I believe all the food groups should be in our body every day.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm someone that probably, I like pizza. I like that stuff. So, if I wanted to say, if I came in and said, this is kind of like the food I like, so could you could help that person possibly lose weight, but possibly still, along the lines of what they still like to eat, or
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my first, I believe in wellness, but the first component of wellness to me is happiness. So if you're not happy, why do we lose, or how do you lose weight?
Right.
So we focus, and everything that we do is completely individualized. So we tailor the menu and the way that we do it, the treatment to your lifestyle, to your like and dislikes, to your preference. So it's not like you're never going to eat something and forget about this.
Sure.
And, that doesn't work. I don't believe it works.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
You will eat pizza with my
Okay.
treatment. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, with another thing with with weight loss and things like that, you hear is portion control.
Absolutely.
Is that something as well you focus on, or what?
Absolutely. Portion control number one. And like I said, all the 5 food groups should be there. So when we do it in the right amount for each person,
Sure.
it works well.
Okay.
I believe more in that than any other fat diets that are coming up every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And speaking of the fad diet, something I know that has worked for some of my friends and family is the keto diet or keto trend.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
So keto diet, it is something that is not new. It is new now, it's coming out, and
right.
everybody's using it to eat less carbs because now it's coming the enemy. Keto diet been used for a long time, since the 1920s about.
Oh, wow,
for
okay.
epilepsy, which it works very well and is still in use for that type of medical issues right now.
Okay.
Depends on what you want to get with the keto diet. If you just only want to lose weight, sure, it works.
Sure.
But you have to have some other components that are important too.
Right.
Carbohydrates, which is the one that they're avoiding completely. The keto diet says that it's about 80 to 90% of fat. That's how you base your diet a day.
Sure.
If carbohydrate is, we were a car, that's our fuel. So when we don't put fuel in a car, it's hard to run it. So
Right.
what happens when we don't have the carbs that we need in our body? We're going to be fatigued. We're going to have light headaches. We're going
Sure.
to be dizzy. So there's a lot of things that it can bring against your health.
Okay.
So if it's only if you want to lose weight, sure, it's going to work. And also, keto diet, when you change the source of energy that you burning, which it's going to turn for carbs, it's going to go to the fats. You have to wait about 2 to 3 weeks for that to start to catch up.
Okay.
And really, there's no much of a study for weight management. There's only about 2 years that somebody been following the keto diet that is investigation and research about it.
Okay.
So in that time, there's some stuff that brings back to your health, like I said.
Right. So it can have the negative effects down the road as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, when you're meeting with a new client that comes in, and you're going back and forth, and is there a questionnaire they answer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time with my patients, each one of them. The first thing that we do is that I personally talk to each one of my patients for an hour.
Oh, wow.
I like
okay.
to get to know them, everything about them. We are
Sure.
not only a weight on a scale, a number weighted on your scale.
Yeah.
We are our mind, or your surroundings, and everything is made who we are. So that's how we treat them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, from your end, on the doctor perspective, is there a certain thing you're looking for, like a body mass index or a weight, or are you just looking at the overall health picture?
We look at it as an overall. Like I
Okay.
said, as human, we are not just one part.
Right.
We are. Or mind is super important. Your stress levels of how you are, or how is your lifestyle, says a lot of how your body respond to a weight or
Sure.
to some disease. That's why you can see people, for example, that are very thin, so you will never imagine that they will have a heart attack.
Okay.
So and it happens a lot, more than people think. So we are a whole, not
Okay.
just a number.
Okay.
Scale.
All right. Very good. Now, would you recommend for someone, and this is something I don't necessarily know how I feel about it, but I used to go back where I could eat anything and not gain a pound. I could eat 5 times a day, or I could eat 2 times a day. It didn't matter. But would you recommend eating 2 or 3 times a day, a couple larger meals, or possibly 5 or 6 times a day, like real smaller, like, kind of like picking
Yeah.
at stuff?
Well, or we are always looking in life as a body and as humans for a balance.
Yes.
So as long as we keep the balance for longer, it always work better.
Okay.
So my recommendation would be to have all your meals.
Okay.
And then a little snacks. What happened when we quit eating, for a longer period of time, we get so hungry. So then we binge eating and we get whatever we find. Instead, if we have something that we plan and we have little small meals, it will make us, first of all, on an homeostasis or an equilibrium in our body, and it will work a lot better.
Okay.
To keep your health.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is your opinion on fasting? Now that's become, I've heard a lot of, that's another trendy thing that's happening right now. I've tried the intermittent fasting where you'll go 18 hours without eating. So maybe you eat at 4 o'clock and then you don't eat till the next, till the next morning. What's your thoughts on that?
So fasting been a practice for a long time too. It's usually related to a type of religion.
Right.
And what the researchers now for what the people are doing it for weight loss, most of all, they're not very accurate because we have a population that it is already pretty healthy in the first place, okay?
Sure.
And that population that you've been doing it for years, people that usually don't smoke, and they've been doing this for years. So it is not comparable with the population that is using it now for weight loss.
Okay.
Now it has some benefit, even showing some benefits on a heart health, for your heart health,
Sure.
but also bring you some disequilibrium and equilibrium of your sugar, for example. So if you're a patient that has diabetes, in fasting is going to drop your sugar, which is going to give you a hypoglycemia, and it's going to get you light dizziness and light headache, and even pass out.
Okay.
So, and even more if it's someone taking medication for diabetes, for example, it's not going to work very well.
All right.
So it's all depends where you're using it for, what you're using it for.
Okay. And I've heard you say that word balance and equilibrium over and over and over.
Absolutely.
So obviously that's very important for our health. Now, when we say exercise versus diet on the balance scale, let's say on 100% out of 100%, what would you recommend should be, exercise versus diet?
Yeah, what we always say it's the apps are made at the kitchen. So we say that it's 80% the kitchen and it's 20% the exercise.
Okay.
But I believe on a complement. So
right.
if we can be active and we can move and we can eat healthy, I think that is like the perfect match.
All right. I need to find a little bit more of that balance.
We all.
A question I had from a family member is, I think he tends to, like during football season, drink a little bit more pop because he's eating pizza and things like that. So he asked about the aspartame versus like the actual, pop that you would drink with real sugar in it. Is there one that's worse than the? Obviously, sugar is bad in general, but is aspartame versus sugar? What's your thoughts on that?
So you mean like the regular pop, the regular soda?
With like the corn syrup.
Okay, so the corn syrup, it is made with the corn, and what the problem in here is the structure, the chemical structure is very similar to the sugar table.
Okay.
The sugar table.
Yeah.
So in that case, what happened with that is that the risk of obesity. It is a lot of carbs of that sugar. It start to get in our body, and we don't usually use that energy because we're eating pizza and drinking pop.
Right.
So it sit on us. So that has a big impact on our weight. Now the aspartame been in place in United States, been used since the early 1980s.
Okay.
Okay, and has never shown any bad benefits or bad things for your health. Besides the people that have ketonuria, that's a medical issue.
Okay.
For that aspartame in particular, but because of just aspartame or the products, it have never been shown scientifically proved that it's something wrong or give you cancer. It was a study done by Italian researchers that they did it in rats, that it showed that the rats got cancer, but we have to have in consideration that the amount of aspartame given to those little rats was about 10,000 times their weight.
Okay.
So in the scientific world, whatever we do,
take a lot.
that amount is gonna, even if you put a bunch of water, you're gonna get something.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Just a few more questions, and I know today's your day off, so first of all, I appreciate you coming in.
Oh, no, a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
What, as a nutritionist, as a health expert, as a doctor, what is your biggest single tip you can give, someone watching today or listening today that, maybe wants to turn around their health and fitness and things like that?
So like we've been talking the whole time, the balance I think is the
Yes.
key.
Okay.
And happiness. If you're not happy, nothing works.
Right.
Then your stress levels are everywhere, and then your metabolism doesn't work that well.
Mm-hmm.
So happiness and do that. Try to be in
Okay.
balance.
Yeah.
I think that's the main deal. And
that's-
it's not
that's the word
about
I'm
not
taking from
eating.
this, is
Absolutely, it's
balance.
about not eating things never again.
Yeah.
It's about just to keep it in
Yeah,
balance. That's
and
what
which
would
will
be.
keep you happy at least for a little while.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, all right, very good. So off of that question with happiness and things like that, obviously there's been studies and reports out that's saying, with the coronavirus that's been, have you seen a change in that, or do you think there will be a change, like people being depressed or anxious or whatever, that generally causes more alcohol consumption, not quite as healthy eating habits, things like that. Do you see that possibly being a problem going forward?
Well, it been a problem since we start, with COVID-19. It been a problem. People are getting a lot more depressed,
Mm-hmm.
and usually when humans get depressed, we turn to eat more,
Sure.
and consume more alcohol. We have an average, and that's what they're calling the COVID-15 of 15 pounds are people been getting
Right,
at
right.
home at all this time. And it's a human deal. I mean, how can you know,
Exactly.
it just happened. It's been a hard time and a hard moment in history.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's been a lot of affected with health. A
Okay.
lot of health affected with COVID-19, not only with the virus, but all the factors that you just named.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess this one's a little bit of a change up and easier
Yeah.
question. Since you grew up in Chile,
Yep.
but you also have Italian roots.
Yep.
What and I was asking people listening today too, what was their favorite thing at school they used to eat? So like or for you, I guess, what in Chile or Italian dish or whatever it might be, what was your favorite thing growing up eating as a kid?
Well, my family, like I said, they didn't even speak Spanish where I live, and
Okay.
they made everything at home. So
Okay.
I can't deny my love for pasta. I love
Okay.
pasta.
Yeah.
But also the fresh vegetables, like when we made the tomatoes and basil together, and
Yeah.
we put out some cucumbers. I love that.
Okay.
Yes, I still.
Well,
love
you're
that.
right at home in Youngstown here.
Absolutely.
So.
I feel that way. Yes.
Okay, changing topics. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I'll keep you about 5 more minutes.
No problem.
But you and your husband also run and own the NEO Flag Football League. So could you tell us a little bit about that and
Absolutely.
what it is?
So our passion for health, activities and
Yeah.
being outside. We have 3 kids, so we made them go outside every day, even if it's when it starts to get cold. And this was an opportunity that a person we knew from Canfield owned it, and he wanted to be out of it. And we love it because it was all connected for the same thing that I do.
Sure.
So it's about kids being active, getting them out of the house, and promote more exercise. Not so much of what it happens a lot right now is that just being in the video deals
Right.
and all in screens. So it has a lot of passion for what I believe. Kids playing outside. I miss the kids, when you go outside of your house. When I was growing up, everybody was riding their bikes, and so that's what we did it, and it's really it gave me a lot of happiness on the weekends when we start playing, because it's an effort of our whole family. Our whole
Sure.
family goes there, and we teaching some values of work,
Yeah, right.
and activities and
Yeah.
health. So I like it. I love it.
And you like, I don't know your kids super well, but from the times I've met them, they're all super polite, well-spoken,
Oh, thank you
just
so
very,
much.
very
Thank
nice
you.
kids.
We
and
try.
And I know your 2 oldest kids started at Canfield today, I believe,
Yes,
right?
yes, they
what's
did.
your feelings on that with the masks and the going back to school? Are you anxious, nervous?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all are, a
Okay.
little bit. It's something that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knows anything. So we wishing for the best.
Sure.
And I think that the school and everybody that is working in there done a fantastic job to trying to keep our kids safe. So just blessing for everybody that is there working with our kids,
Yeah,
and for the kids,
no
of
doubt.
course, for everybody that is out of school now.
No doubt. Okay, so I just want to wrap up here, but I want to thank you again for coming in.
My pleasure.
Can you tell people watching or listening where you're located and how they can
Yes.
get a hold of you?
So our office at Medically Fit is in Boardman. It's in 819 McKay Court in Boardman, Ohio. Is right behind I Hope.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any flag football, you can find us at www.anyoflagfootball.com. And
right.
so it's medicallyfit.org.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
Very good.
Yes.
So again, I'd like to thank Dr. Figley for coming in. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears here now to a YouTube video that's going to intro into our next topic. So, so just go ahead and take a listen to this.
High school mascot, something that they have heard before, but for many in the community, this has been a tradition and the backbone of South Texas culture. So Ashley Gonzalez breaks us down what people have to say.
If you're active on Twitter, you've probably seen this tweet. Our sports anchor, Chris Tomlinson, tweeting what was happening right in front of him, saying, "The Robstown Cotton Pickers come before their season opener against London tonight. The Cotton Pickers are the mascot for Robstown High School." And to some residents in the Coastal Bend, this tweet is just a statement of fact. But that wasn't the case for others. As of Saturday, this video has caught the eyes of over 1.7 million people. The tweet itself is trending nationally, with comments from people shocked that a school would use a racist term tied to our country's painful past with slavery to represent its students. Robstown ISD says that is not what the mascot represents to them, saying to be a Robstown cotton picker represents a sense of pride. For some, the name has no offense to it. Local historians explain the Robstown cotton pickers represent the predominantly Hispanic migrant workers who worked in the cotton fields Robstown is known for.
And here come your Robstown cotton pickers.
Others are saying times have changed. In 2017, the mascot was brought to the forefront when neighboring school, Hamlin Middle School, changed its own mascot from a rebel wearing a Confederate flag, deeming it to be offensive. However, there have not been any formal challenges of the Robstown mascot. And this isn't the first time the Coastal Bend has had to tackle controversial issues. And this year, for the first time in our local history, Corpus Christi recognized Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a holiday, and in January, Refugio voted to no longer use Dixie as its fight song because of its racist roots. Ashley Gonzalez, 3 News.
All right, so welcome back in. I was checking stuff out on Twitter this weekend, and I saw the co-host for Colin Cowherd tweeted that about the, I believe it's Robstown cotton pickers, which, in 2020, you hear that name, that really, raises an eyebrow, and that gave me a chance to think. I had a long couple drives this weekend. I was out of town, and so I was like, that cannot be the only random weird team name. Last year I was a coach for the Boardman Spartans, and we played a team called Indian Creek, and they happened to be the Redskins. So that also made me think, well, the Washington football team just changed their name from the Redskins. That triggered the Cleveland Indians to say, hey, we're going to put out some info about possibly changing our team name as well. So I went through and I looked through all the various states and different interesting names. I got to say, the state of Illinois has a lot of interesting high school team names. But I'm going to go through some of the ones I found interesting. I'm going to bring in Joe Danier, and we're going to go through this list, Joe, and I'm going to say, I'm going to basically say good means keep it. Interesting means, interesting, it's cool, whatever, or ugly, it's got to go.
I feel like this is a setup. I feel like we're going down in flames here.
There's a few. I'm not 100% sure if I want to read over the air, but we'll see if I'll get there.
Okay.
But some of these are really cool. Some of them not so much. All right, so the first one I looked up, and I'll kind of go quickly through these, and you just, like I said, good, interesting, ugly. Avon Old Farms, which is in Connecticut, they are the winged beavers.
The winged beavers. I'm going to say it's good.
Okay.
Gotta love the winged
I'm going to go
beaver.
with interesting on that one.
Is that a real thing? Is there beavers that have wings?
Well, I mean, wait till you hear some of the other names on here. And
I have a feeling this is probably the least worst one, right?
Oh, yeah. They're going to get good. This next one, though, very creative with the name. This is in West Virginia. The town's name is Poca, P-O-C-A. They are the Dots.
Keep it. Absolutely.
I think interesting. Yeah.
Listen, I'm the
it's
dad
creative.
joke guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So all of these are going to be awesome to me.
Oh, yeah. The Polka Dots. Okay. The David Henry Hickman High School Cupies. Apparently that's a doll that was big in the 1900s. And this school, for good luck on a basketball court, they put this doll in the half court. And apparently it wasn't touched during the game, and they won, so it was good luck. First of all, why the hell are you putting a doll in the center of the court? But what do you think about that one?
If they have a winning record, I say keep it.
Okay.
If not, get rid of it.
First of all, I just can't stand dolls. That's one of my things, so I'm saying ugly. It's got to go.
All right.
Williamsport, which is Pennsylvania, which used to apparently be the lumber capital of the world. I think 84 Lumber or one of those companies was based out of that area. They are called the Millionaires.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
Keep it.
I do too. I think that's cool.
Bring some sass to it, too.
Yeah,
You know, when the opposing team comes in, come on, we're the Millionaires. What do you got?
Throwing money off the
You know that's their dance. Heck yeah.
You know, like before the game, they throw the balls into the stands or whatever. They're throwing just dollar bills
You
out
know
there.
it.
All right, the Ridgeville High School Spudders.
Spudders?
They're from Washington State, which is right by Idaho.
Oh,
Spudders.
spud. Potatoes.
So
Got it.
potatoes.
Oh, yeah, fine. I'll keep it.
I have to. Here's what made me love this. Their mascot is a tater tot.
Keep it.
I'm saying you keep
Absolutely.
that. I loved it. Okay, this one from the state up north, the Watersmeet Nimrods. Now, this may make you think twice on this because I had to look up. They said it's actually a biblical term, Nimrod, which means a mighty hunter. I still say it means Nimrod.
Gone. I mean, you go into a territory and you're explaining we're the Nimrods. I mean, come on. You have to. If you have to explain a paragraph, it's no good.
It's like when you dress up for Halloween and you have to explain what your costume is.
Yeah, no good.
It's
no good.
So yeah, I think we're both in agreement on that. The Live Oak High School Acorns.
That's not bad. I'll take it.
Kind of cool. Oh, yeah. And their themes go nuts, so I kind of thought
you
that
can
was
have a
cool.
lot of things go along with that.
I'm gonna say this next one, and as Buckeyes too, we have kind of a different mascot, but it's obviously our state tree. So the Hoopstown area Corn Jerkers.
The Corn Jerkers.
The Corn Jerkers.
Oh man, I'm keeping it.
I'm keeping it too. It's out of Illinois, like I said. There's a lot of Illinois teams in this list. The Frankfurt Hot Dogs.
Yeah, I like Frankfurt.
Yeah, I'm on board with that one too. All right.
I'm glad you're setting me up with context too, because some of these won only because you had to explain it.
There'll be a couple I might throw. I might go mysterious for you here.
All right.
We'll see. The Chinook. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Sugar beaters.
Sugar beaters. Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, they're from Montana. I think that's interesting.
I think that's a big produce kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, this one from Florida, which everything out of Florida is usually interesting. By the way, have you ever Googled? It's like you Google your birthday, and guy from Florida. So,
no.
It's a good thing to do. Google. So you'd Google what's your birthday?
December 29th.
So December 29th, man from Florida. And
Really?
then you get some interesting stuff.
All
So
right.
I would Google July 14th, man from Florida. Boom. If you're a woman, Google what your birthday, woman from Florida. You're going to get some interesting feedback
Okay.
on Google.
Poor Florida. Everybody's picking on them.
The Laurel Hill Hobos.
Laura, I'm going to get rid of that.
Yeah, I think that one's a little different. I'm going to say beforehand, I like this one. The Blooming Prairie Awesome Blossoms.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Got to have the awesome
They're also
blossoms.
known in the community as the Fighting Flowers.
I like it.
Kind of cool.
It's a way the offset. Like, you don't want the feminine flowers to be your team,
Yeah,
but
right.
if you could be a fighting flower, do it up.
All right. Okay, I'm on board with that. the New Berlin, which obviously is a German background, the pretzels.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to say interesting
Meh.
too.
Meh.
I would have to probably be in the town to see.
Now, if you give
what
me
the
an
town's
adjective
demographic-
on the pretzel, then I'm going with it.
Sure,
Like the
sure.
spicy pretzels,
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
All right, fair enough. I like that. The Rocky Ford High School, which is in Colorado, Meloneers.
I like
so I
it.
believe their mascot is a fighting watermelon.
It's good.
Okay.
Love watermelon.
Okay. All right. Now, this one, there's a little. I'm going to give you the backstory on this one. No, you know what? I'm not. And I'll tell you the backstory after you pick.
Okay.
The Centralia High School Orphans.
The Orphans.
Now, that is their boys' team name. Their girls' team are the Annies.
Now, is there any history behind it? Are they
Now-
famous for fostering, for placing, or what?
Not that I know of.
If they're celebrating it, yes. If they're mocking it, hell no.
Okay, so the backstory on this, and this is just quick research, was noted by a writer, I believe, in the 50s or 60s. I guess the team came out, I don't know if it was football or basketball, baseball, whatever it was, but they kind of had like a raggedy appearance. So I guess he nicknamed them, they look like orphans. So I guess that's
I'm gonna nix 'em.
where it's dawned from. Okay,
I'm just gonna nix 'em.
I'm
They're
gonna
gone.
just say it has a bad connotation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna nix that one too. Another one, I love this one. This is probably my favorite one. The Arkansas School for the Deaf. They are the leopards. So the deaf leopards.
I love it. That is so clever.
I think I'm on board with that one
yeah,
too.
totally.
Okay. The Yuma High School, which is in Arizona. Criminals.
The Criminals.
I mean,
This is a high
that's
school
An intimidating.
criminals.
That's an intimidating.
No, I'm
mascot.
going to say no.
Yeah, I'm
Kill
going to
it.
say nix it too. I don't know what Yuma. Maybe they have a prison there, and that's their
Yeah,
thing.
but we don't want to. We don't want to put that on a pedestal and let
Exactly.
people get comfortable with being
Yeah,
criminals.
that's
Come
not
on.
something you aim
Yeah.
to be later on in life. Okay, and I'm going to probably butcher this name, but Teutopolis High School, once again in Illinois, the Wooden Shoes.
Wooden shoes. I like it. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Came from a German immigrant, Teutopolis, I guess, which sounds Greek to me, but apparently that was a Greek immigrant that's where the name Wooden Shoes come from. We have a high school in Ohio. I believe they are South Webster, but the also Du Bois High School, Fighting Jeeps.
Yeah,
Now,
I like that.
Now, I drive a Jeep. I love my Jeep. Apparently, the term Jeep is not the automobile. It's from a cartoon series starring Popeye, and that's where the term comes from. So, never heard of it before this weekend.
Well,
but
on the last show, on Freddie's show, we had a historian explain where Jeep came from. Want me to
Okay.
explain it?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So I think it was like general use or general something, GP.
Okay.
But then when they referred to him as GPs, and then eventually it just became Jeep.
Interesting. Okay.
General purpose is what it was.
General
General purpose,
purpose
then
turned into
GP.
Jeep from
Yep,
there.
exactly.
Okay. All right. I like it. There's a couple that are now no longer in business because they were voted out in the 90s and 80s. I'm not going to read those ones.
How do they establish these things? How do they come up with them?
Oh, I just wonder, like, one, I'm just going to read the town name, Wahpeton, which is in North Dakota. We'll just say it was an Italian slur. But it was around until 1990. We're pretty, I know there's no internet and things like that, but that's pretty rough. There was one worse one in Pekin, Illinois, that was changed in 1980. I'm not going to say that name. I don't want to get us in trouble, but this one, I want your opinion on this one.
Okay.
The Orofino, Idaho Maniacs.
The Maniacs.
I'm not going to give you the backstory yet.
I'm gonna say nix that one too, because I mean when you get psychological disorder, we got to get sensitivities to some of that stuff.
Okay. Now, I would have said if I didn't know the backstory, it's good. I like it. Kind of like whatever, just a kind of a different, cool sounding name. But Orofino in Idaho is home to the state mental institution.
Okay, I see where that came from. now.
So I get it, but gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay. Freeburg, Illinois. which is a community high school. They are the Midgets, which is obviously a frowned upon name. And their mascot is sort of a pissed off looking little guy, and so I think I got to say that one's probably got to go.
Maybe give them the option to change it to little people.
Yeah.
If we celebrate, like the Fighting Irish
Right.
are the same thing. The Irish people are proud to have that little dude with,
I'm not sure if I
fisticuffs.
should be laughing at that, but it kind of sounds funny. So I'm going to say probably just change it.
There are a billion other choices.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be hung up on that one.
Right,
Unless,
right.
it's not like your merchandise is going to go bad.
All right. Yeah, exactly. And again, in Texas, Hereford. Oh, this one's bad. White faces.
Yeah, that's probably,
That's
get
pretty,
rid of it.
That's pretty bad.
Get rid of it.
This one. I'm just going to spell the name. Butte, which most people would say Butte, but could be pronounced a different way. Pirates.
Oh,
The Butt Pirates.
Pirates. Yeah, from a marketing standpoint, please change that.
Great, hilarious name if you're playing that team. We're going to just beat down on the Butt Pirates this weekend. Okay, and then the Robstown, which is the story we showed you before. The cotton pickers.
Yeah, gotta get rid of it.
And apparently, like from the story, they say, well, it's a proud ancestral heritage of. They have, a strong Mexican community that works there, but still, I think it's a derogatory, negative term, and I just think that one's
anytime
gotta go.
we stereotype stuff like that, it's no longer like a rallying cry that's supportive of a team. You're just kind of mocking something. It's just in
Exactly.
bad taste.
I'm not going to read all the rest of these. Let's say about 10 more of these.
Okay.
The Cobden, Illinois. I like this one. Apple knockers.
Apple knockers. I'll go with that.
Kind of sounds fun. Yeah. It almost kind of sounds like it would have a different meaning if you were a high school boy and say, "Hey, check out those apple knockers."
A million preteen jokes out of that one.
Oh yeah. Non-stop laughs there.
Preteen. How about just teen?
Yeah. Either way. The this is in Pennsylvania. Boiling Springs Bubblers.
I'll go with that.
I like
I
that one. That's a good play on words. The Key West Fighting Conchs, like the conch shells.
Shell. Yeah, I'll go with
Yeah,
that.
I like
Celebrate
that too.
your natural stuff.
This one was interesting. In Illinois, once again, the town's name is Polo. They renamed the team after a vote, the Marcos. So the Polo
Love it.
Marcos. Play
Love
on
it.
words, like it again. Very cool. This one, again, from the state up north, the Bessemer Speed Boys, and the girls' team is the Speed Girls.
I don't know.
So I don't know if that has a
Interesting.
racing
I don't either.
connotation or
Maybe.
they had somebody that was
Speed
a track athlete that became famous. I don't know. I think it's different, so I'm going to say good, but I don't know.
All right. It's interesting.
The Tarpon Springs Spongers.
Spongers. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah, it's out of Florida, so why not?
Again, the natural thing.
All right, this one. I like this one a lot. I'm not going to give you the backstory again either. The Yuba High, which is in California, Yuba High Honkers.
The honkers. Yes, for sure.
Several innuendos you could probably form there, but
Geese.
apparently
Gotta be geese.
But apparently, the Canadian geese migrate to that town very heavily,
The honkers.
and so they came up with the honkers.
Yeah.
The Cairo High Syrup Makers, out of Georgia.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
If you're excited about that, I mean,
guess
whatever.
Maybe I guess if they're famous for syrup, Georgia
That's right.
sounds. I would think that would be like a northeastern thing.
Right.
But, this one was probably the most interesting one, and I don't know the backstory, but this is out of Honolulu, Punchahoo School, the Buff and Blues.
Oh, I like it.
I like it
Buff
too.
and Blues.
Buff and Blues. So
and Blues.
I like it. This one's out of Idaho, as you could probably guess. You could probably guess what their mascot is, but the Shelley Russets.
Yes,
The
for
potatoes.
sure.
Yeah. Somerset High. Let's do 3 more. Somerset High, Kentucky. The Briar Jumpers, which Briar Jumper apparently is a rabbit.
Okay, kind of dumb, but I'll go with it.
Okay. All right. This one I don't know how I feel about yet. I'm gonna say interesting because again I don't know the backstory. The name. Hopefully, if anyone listens from this randomly from New York City, and apparently this is a great school in New York City, Stuyvesant, Stuyvesant, Peg Legs.
The peg legs, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna say cool because I don't know the backstory. And then the last one, I'll just wrap it up with this one. from Oklahoma, the Chickasha Fighting Chicks.
Sure.
And
this was way more tame than I was predicting.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to hit me with some.
There's a few on ones here. There's a few on. Okay, how about this one? And,
you weren't going to be outdone, were you?
Well, this one's really interesting because, Sturgis, South Dakota, they're known for like that bike rally and things like that. They have a pretty lame high school team name, the Scoopers. You would think they'd be like, the Harleys or something
the
like
Leatherbacks.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know. So, those just seeing this weekend how that story played, and a lot of people didn't know about, that name Cotton Pickers. And, you think of the connotation, whether, like I said, the town seems to have a positive perception on that, but nationally that's not going to play well. So that just made me think, hey, let's go over some of these names, have a little fun with it.
I still want to know how some of these schools pick those names, because it's got to be something stupid, like they went out to find like the mascot costumes and all was sold out except for the pickle, and they're like, let's be the pickles because I have access to that.
Absolutely.
It's got to be, because nobody would pick half of those.
Exactly.
They wouldn't.
Well, we have about 10 minutes left on the show, but if anyone has a name I didn't think of or thinks of one or wants to drop a comment on Facebook, 330-595-1600. I'd love to hear different ones. Joe, I asked Carolina what her favorite food was. I said tacos. For mine, with kids going back to school and stuff, what was your favorite? I don't know if you packed or bought, but like, what was your favorite thing you ate when you were at school growing up?
It was pizza. The school pizza. Now thinking about it, it was terrible, but in the moment, that was like the best thing that was.
You live for pizza day.
Heck yeah.
And I think we always had ours on Wednesdays, and you look forward to those days sometimes. As
the pizza, the movie days, and there was one other thing that we couldn't wait for. The substitute teacher, I guess.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's change up to football.
Okay.
The season kicks off this Thursday. So our next show we'll do kind of a pick 'em for the teams for all the games for this coming weekend. But I thought before we get into that, let's just go ahead and pick the division winners. So I'll list off the team names. You tell me who you got, and I'll tell you who I got.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start with basically our local fan base, the AFC North. So you got Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh.
I'll go with Cleveland because that's what I do.
Okay. My heart says Cleveland, my head says Baltimore, so I'm going to say Baltimore wins the AFC North. And Carolina, who was in here, I know is a big Steeler fan, so she would have probably picked the Steelers.
Now, how do you think Cincinnati's going to do? When we get a new slinger in there, I think
Joe Burrow is, it's tough throwing a rookie in there to start, but he had a huge year last year. They do have a couple nice receivers and Joe Mixon at running back. I still think they're going to probably be like a 4 or 5 win team.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 4-12 for the Bengals. I think they're going to struggle, but I think they're going to get better heading into the year or heading into next year. All right, AFC East. The teams are Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the New York Jets.
Man, I'd say New England every day. Well, we'll see. I'll go with New England still.
You know what? And I picked New England, too. I think a lot of people are picking Buffalo. I'm going to go New England, but just barely at 9-7 wins the division. I think Buffalo will be right up there in the mix with them.
Yeah, I still think that team is solid, even with or without. I mean, when what's his name stepped in there when
Cam Newton.
Oh, I don't know. When someone stepped into that offense, I forget who the dude was.
Oh, yeah.
And they still were firing all
They
cylinders.
plug and place guys all the time.
Yeah.
They take a lot of guys that didn't make it with other teams. And, I mean, Josh Gordon did well for a couple weeks before he fizzled out again. Antonio Brown played 1 week, scored a touchdown, They just can plug and play guys. AFC South. By the way, I'm going to go with New England, too, if I didn't say that. AFC South. So you got Houston Texans. You got the Tennessee Titans. You got the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'll go with Colts.
Okay. All right.
Don't know what's going to happen there, but
I think now Phillip Rivers took his I don't know how many kids. He's probably got like 35 kids now, I think, to Indianapolis. So moving them and transplanting them and doing.
He's going to be upset.
They might be doing virtual school at home. So you got that. You got 35 kids. Honestly, like I'm making a joke, but I think he probably has 9 or 10 kids, I think.
Okay.
And so I'm going to say that's going to preoccupy him. And they're not. I think they're going to be like a 7 and 9 type team.
That's the kind of shoot down that I've ever had. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'm going to say Tennessee wins at 9 and 7. I think the Colts are around 500. I think the Houston Texans they're kind of a mysterious team to me. I don't know, and I think Jacksonville's probably the worst team in the league. So I'm going to go Tennessee in that one. And then AFC West, you got the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. You got San Diego. I keep saying San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders, and Denver Broncos. So that's hard for me to get out of my vocabulary.
I'll still go with Kansas City on that.
Kansas City, yeah. And I got Kansas City going 13-3. Now, my wild cards, because the NFL is expanding to 7 playoff teams this year. Normally it's 6. So they're adding another playoff spot, and there's only going to be 1 bye the first week. So I'm going to say the Browns, the Bills, and the Steelers all sneak in at 9 and 7.
Nice, I'll take that. I'd like to see some postseason stuff.
I would love for the Browns. Now I believe Vegas has them right around 8 and 8. So if they could sneak into the playoffs, obviously everyone around here, football's just better when the Browns are good.
Yeah, and I did read that the capacity they're going to set it at what, like 10%,
something like that. Yeah, I think
whatever.
it's like 6,000, which I don't know how that's going to be arranged around the stadium.
You know what else would be cool? If they put teams out there, put only 6 men on the field, make them play with a half staff, so it'll be like backyard football. Remember you had a couple guys and you played receiver and
yeah, they're gonna play both ways. I like it. All right, let's switch to the NFC. So NFC North, you got the Vikings, the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears.
Oh, geez.
This is a tough division, I think, to pick.
Yeah.
I think they're all kind of bunched up.
I'll say Vikings.
Okay. And I think that's a good pick. I'm going to go with Green Bay. I'm going to say Green Bay is going to go 10 and 6. I think Minnesota's right on their heels, though. Let's also go with the NFC East now. So we got the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Washington Football Club. No longer the Redskins.
How about the Eagles?
Okay. Eagles, good pick, too. I like that. I'm going to go with the Cowboys at 10 and 6 as well. NFC South. This is a very, very competitive division. You have the New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady now. You got Atlanta, and you have Carolina.
Can I go with Tampa Bay? And it could be just a lab, an experiment, whatever can happen, right?
Absolutely. There's really no wrong answers here.
All
We're
right,
not.
cool.
We're not putting.
Put me on blast. Like afterwards, you're going to be on Facebook.
We can. We'll put our picks out there and see how we do at the end of the season.
Yeah. Want to put something on the line?
Yeah. I'd say
lunch.
We have
put
till
lunch.
Thursday. All right.
We'll
do
put lunch on the line.
That sounds good. All right. I'm going to go with New Orleans at 11 and 5 in that division. But I think I'm really interested to see what Tampa's going to do. I think they could be as low as 7 and 9, but I think they could be as good as 11
I think
and
every
5.
player is going to play higher than his pay grade because he's in that in that position.
And they just signed Leonard Fournette, who could be a big impact for their running game. So we'll see how that goes.
Did you see Kareem Hunt got a deal, $13.25 million extension.
We need a breaking news.
That's right.
All right. I like that. Okay, so good.
Right off the wire.
The Browns ensuring their backfield.
Yeah.
Which is great. And our final division out of the 8, we have the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks, LA Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals.
I'll go with Seahawks.
Okay. The Seahawks are another solid pick. They're always good as long as Russell Wilson is there. They're going to be a solid team. I am going to go with our local ties in the 49ers, who I just saw a story yesterday that sometimes the 49ers will stay in Youngstown when they have like a back-to-back East Coast game. But this year they're staying at the Greenbrier Resort, which is in West Virginia. I got a little pet peeve. The governor of West Virginia, I'm going to go off on a real quick tangent. We got about 3 minutes. But the governor of West Virginia, I got to say, when I was a coach at Boardman, we took a trip down to Orlando, and I was coaching JV at the time, and we had an 8 a.m. game in Orlando, Florida. So to get these 14, 15, 16-year-old girls, make sure they're up, ready to play at like 6:30 so we could be there for an 8 o'clock game was not the easiest thing in the world. But then we show up, we get there. The governor of West Virginia, who, by the way, his name's Jim I've researched this guy. His name's Jim Justice. He's a billionaire. His family's big into the the coal mines and stuff down in West Virginia. They got in the night before around midnight. We got in the day before. But, we were tired. We had a long day. They refused to play that next morning because they got in so late. So I still have a little beef. I believe they were Greenbrier East High School. I'm going to put them on blast.
He's just sharpening that axe.
We were ready for them. We were ready for them, and they didn't show up. So, okay, let's go ahead and we'll wrap up in a minute here. On Thursday's show, we have a really cool guest coming in, someone that has run for governor of the state of Ohio before, Joe Schiavone. He is a local guy, and he's done some really, really great things in our area. You're probably going to see a lot of his signs out as the election nears. I'll let him tell you what he's running for on Thursday, but Joe also has a lot of sports ties and some cool stories to tell. So we'll have double Joes in on Thursday. We'll go over some of the NFL games and some more things like that. So I'm going to close with this. I saw this cool quote from Amy Poehler. She says, just change the world by being yourself. And I think that's a good message to live by. So for Joe Danier, thanks to Carolina Figley for coming in. My name's Justin Coffin. This is the 330 Sports Show. We will see you on Thursday. Have a great day.